ho, ho, y'all. You see, I got on my little vest today, and I got on my homemade hat. Keeps popping up. I don't know. This hat is so old. This is a long, maybe 5 or 6 year ago hat that I had made when I was crocheting. And it keeps popping up, like my head is blowing it up on top. I said, wow. Anyway, how y'all doing on this 22nd day of Vlogmas? Have you finished your shopping yet? I guess you said ask the same thing each every day. Well, I gotta make sure you're on your P's and Q's. Because I had to be reminded constantly about what I had to do when I was doing all that Christmas shopping. I haven't bought anybody gifts. I'm not giving anybody no gifts. I don't expect to get any gifts. I mean, the gifts is nice. You get excited when somebody gives you a gift. You get, the wonder of it all. But I don't really care about. I have everything I need. I don't need any more whatnot. I'm trying to get rid of some clothes as it is, and I think I just bought. How many shirts did I buy from Amazon last winter? I just bought another shirt. I don't know if I even showed you all that one, but I'm gonna send that one back. And I don't. There's nothing really I can think of that I need except some. Peel me off a couple. You know what I mean? But no, I'm serious. I really, all the excitement for all that has left, really. I don't know why, but like I said, a present here and there doesn't hurt anyone, you know. And I'm hoping that everybody has got everything prepared. Now, when I was doing all the shopping, um, let's see, Christmas is Thursday, and my last day of shopping by I would say before New Year's Eve. Let's see, tomorrow, New Year's Eve? No, 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 no. Today is Monday, right? Monday would be my last day of shopping right here. This would be it right here. No more shopping. Everything that's not done is going to get done because you know what? I'm resting tomorrow. Tomorrow I will be resting. Yeah. Because what? I'm going to cook all day the next day. So I need all the energy that I can get, to cook. Because believe it or not, the cooking that I used to do, and I was doing it all, let me look at this camera over here. And I was doing it all by myself, basically. But, like when I was married at the time, the old boy, he would cook the turkey. Thank goodness. He did something. That's one thing he'd do. He'd cook the turkey. But all the other stuff, was left up to me. And I usually took, I would start all day because I'm not going to just stay in the kitchen, stay in the kitchen, stay in the kitchen like that. I'm going to cook some, wait a while, rest, whatever the case may be, and then cook some more. And, just at a certain pace. But all the shopping is done. All the presents I bought and wrapped already. Everything is set. Dishes, everything is ready. Chances are we're going to eat out the day before I cook because there ain't be nobody in the kitchen messing around. Chances are we're going to eat out the day before, the day of that I'm cooking. Maybe the day of and the day before because I can't have the kitchen by myself. I can't have no hanging around in the kitchen. I got to be able to turn. I didn't have no help with my children. They weren't big enough to really do anything. They would be sort of like in the way. You know how a child try to help you, but yet still they just in your way. But if they want to help you, sort of let them stir something, so they can think they're doing something like that. But other than that, I need the kitchen done. I need all the dishes washed. I need my cake pans, even though they've been packed away, I have to make sure they're clean. Everything that has been sitting around hasn't been used. I don't care if I have it in a plastic bag, whatever the case may be for the year. I got to take it out and, soap it, put some soap and water on it and rinse it out. that's clean and everything. I got to make sure them greens are clean. I let them soak. And sometimes, you know what? A long time ago, a lady taught me this about greens, about cooking them, how to clean them, which I don't always do it that way. But she said, when you're washing your greens, just take a little bit of dish soap and put that over there in the greens and, wash them like that because sometimes there be chemicals on them. This is what the wood down south. I know that to be a fact. But I don't never know my mother to put nothing like that on them. I think they put a little salt in the water or something like that to try to, whatever's on it so it could fall off. But the purpose of soaking your greens is so that that stuff can sort of loosen up and fall off, you know, and, and carry on. And then you wash them several times. Yeah. And so there's a lot that goes into cooking when you are getting ready to cook for the holiday. Aren't you excited? Or did you decide to call that caterer like I suggested? I remember people call caterer. They will call that caterer, and the caterer will bring the dinner. I don't know if they had to pick it up. I forgot. I think some deliver it. As a matter of fact, my sister-in-law, she used to do catering. Yeah, she made pretty good of it. She made like a career out of it. Yeah, there's some pretty good money in catering, y'all. Just in case you didn't know. I mean, for some people who got that get up and go, which I don't have that get up and go, so I could never do anything like that. I have to have a job that's sitting down. Yeah. Not a whole lot. But to tell you one thing I did like doing, I like to do factory work. I've done factory work. Yes, I liked it because it seemed like the time would just fly by. Here come the furnace. Just as soon as I get up here on the video to talk to the AAG team, here come the furnace. How you doing, furnace? Ooh, but we need that furnace today, y'all, because it is cold now. I've been having this on. I had this too tight turtleneck sweater on. This is an old turtleneck right here. And it's kind of tighter on the old girl. But I had this on, and then I said, okay, I'm gonna put the vest on top of this and slap this hat on my head and come on up here and do Vlogmas number 22. How y'all doing this evening? I hope you rested. I hope you got everything done and you're not stressed out. Because sometimes a lot of shopping and a lot of running around will stress you out. How I know? Because if it happened to me, it could you too. I love you though. It is nice though. The excitement of it all is really, really nice. I remember those days, and truly, I did enjoy those days. And I miss my grandmother. My grandmother's cooking. Oh Lord, my mama's cooking. My aunt's cooking. My aunt could burn. I always say the aunt could boil the pot. My mother could bake the cakes. My mother was the baker, and the boil of the pot. Yes, sir. And I'm the eater. But everybody in my family love to eat. We don't really have any skinny people in our family. Not really. Uh-uh. I mean, my kids was little, like, when they were coming up, they was kind of skinny. They didn't want to eat nothing and everything, little teeny weeny legs and stuff. Nah, that's out the window. Forget about that. That's gone. Yeah, we all got a little bit of meat on the bones now. Yeah. And so, and I have the brother that was up here that was recent. He's the only brother I have left, my oldest brother. He was a picky eater. He would eat. I don't know how he even when he was here, he sort of had certain things that he just eat. He was never fat. He got bigger, but not fat. And then my other brother, the youngest brother, he passed on first. My youngest brother. Now he was big and tall. He was like 6'3" or something. I don't know. Might have been 6'4". Who knows? The only thing I know, I didn't look up like that. Just, I was, the shortest one in the whole family. And so, but he got big, he was big, but he was really never fat, fat. No, but my brother that I hadn't seen for so many years, they say that my brother, well, my brother that was just here, he's the brother was next to him. And he had seen him since I had, because he had moved to Detroit. And he didn't live, he wasn't too far where he was. He lives in Ohio, and Detroit is not that far from Ohio, even though it's Cleveland, and Detroit is in Michigan. And actually, my brother was telling me, he said he could actually see Canada from where he lived in Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah. But anyway, my other brother, he said that he had gotten fat because I hadn't seen him in years. I hadn't seen him in about 40 years. I've talked to him, but I hadn't seen him. Yeah. But like I said, none of us was skinny. Not that I can recall. Skinny when when you're little, you don't want to eat nothing. And matter of fact, I think the smallest I ever was about after growing up and everything. I think I was able to wear a 9 dress in a ninth grade when I first came to Connecticut. I was wearing like I was a teenager, straight from the South. And my eyes looking at the guys, with it. I should have had my eye in the books. You know how it is. But but basically, I had always been a size like between 14s and 16s. Yeah. And then it went up to 18s and then 19s. Well, not 19, 18 and 19, I guess. Some people. I got my fireplace burning over here, y'all. This is a beautiful one. I don't think I could show it to you, but let's see. Let me see. Can you see it? Oh, I don't know if you can see it. I done took my camera all the way off the stand. It must not have been screwed down that tight. But I'm not gonna carry that. Oh, carry that along, y'all. I'm trying to get the camera back up here. Yeah, that's a beautiful fireplace with the garlands over the fireplace and Christmas trees and Christmas presents. Yeah. Oh, let's see that. I'm trying to get the adjusted that. But anyway, I hope this video come out all right. For the last few videos, I have been getting sound, but except for that one copyright, I have no complaints about the video. But of course, the one that's on the television, on the computer, is always blurry. Let's see if I get closer. It's blurry. No, that looks a little better. I think if I stay right here, the clarity is a little better. Is that a word, clarity? I'll tell you what I did look up, speaking of words. Remember I was telling you about ptomaine poison, and then I got curious. I said, is that really a word? And lo and behold, it's a word, y'all. And it means just what it says, ptomaine poison. It's like when you eat bad food, uh, but you'd be surprised at the way it's spelled. Because I was spelling it Tomaine when I Googled it. But it's a P, Ptomaine, ptomaine poison. And they used to use that word a lot down yonder home. And I thought it was something maybe they had made up because I never took the time to look it up until after I used it on the video. Let me look up this here because I ain't sure if this is a word. And I had heard it so, very often. But you know how down yonder home. I didn't know that guan. You've heard me say guan on. What's guan on? Okay, that's a word. Yeah, I don't know if it's slang or what the situation is, but it's definitely a word. What's going on? Yeah, but anyway, it's not. That's words that you every day. but they do exist, and there's so many words. And I've learned 1,000 words since, I'm pretty sure maybe 2,000 different words since I've been playing Scrabble over the years, and I've been playing Scrabble for almost as long as I had. Matter of fact, I think I've been playing as long as I've had a computer, over 20 years. I had a computer for about 20, maybe longer than that. Yeah, I had a computer for a long time. So that's how long I've been playing Scrabble. Almost every single day. Yeah. First thing I do in the morning, turn my computer on, get my coffee pot going. If I'm having cereal, I don't sort of like coffee right along there with cereal, you know. But if I'm having something like an egg and toast or frying some potatoes or something like that, then I want a cup of coffee. Then I got my computer going and Scrabble. Number one game, Scrabble. Yep. And I used to love crosswords and word search, stuff like that. You know, before the computer got really in there. Yep. And reading, of course, was on my list as well. Furnace just went off. I don't feel like I'm screaming anymore. But anyway, I'm not going to hold you all up because I know I'm jibber jabbing. And I ain't talking about nothing. But I certainly am glad to hear you that you're sitting there listening to me. If you're listening to me, I don't know why I don't have no chats. I don't know. Maybe I don't have the chats turned on. I'm not sure. And I never figured out what these dots at the bottom of the screen mean. Do they mean anything? I don't know. And then there's an arrow that's going up next to I think it's about 6 dots. And the dots are they moving? I don't know. There's about 6 or 7 dots at the bottom of the screen. One is lit green, the rest are white. And then next to that, it's like one of those, it looks like a drawing or a cartoon, so to speak, of a little microphone. And then next to that, there's an arrow that points up. And next to that, now this is at the bottom of the screen, and I'm on the live screen on my computer. And there's another arrow, it's sort of curved and it's going that way. You know, it's pointing that way, sort of like curved over there. And then next to that, it says end screen and then exit if you want to exit out of there. I'm learning. Thank God for that I'm able to read, you know? You'd be surprised at people that can't read. And another thing, speaking of reading, there's a lot of people that can't read, but darn if they can't count that money. Try to cheat them. It ain't gonna work. They know how to count that money. And that's something I could never figure out. If you can't even read, how are mathematics to me were more difficult than reading. Come, Mary. Here comes Spot. Spot can come. Come, mother. Like that. That's the way you start to read. And you learn your alphabet, of course, and then, you know how to learn, you know how to go. But that math was a little more difficult. So I don't understand how a person that's unable to read and write, but are able to count that money. I know a few people like that. Yeah, I knew a few people like that. This guy that used to sell bootleg liquor, he was like that. I guess he said, "You ain't gonna cheat me out of my money. I'm taking a risk of breaking the law selling bootleg. And I'm gonna know how to count my money. I know how much it costs and how much change you get back and everything and how much you owe me." Yeah, and it's the weirdest thing. I just thought of that just now. And I'm about to get off the video and find myself something. Well, I'm not really going to find anything to eat because I made some tuna fish again. It seems like that's the only thing I eat is tuna fish and chicken. thought it was raining there for a minute, but I think that's the sound coming from the fireplace over TV. I could hear it just barely. I could hear crackling, but I thought I had the sound turned on. Let's just see if you could hear it. That's the fireplace. But I could barely hear it when I quiet when I got myself quiet, and that's why I thought it was raining. Turn it back down. That's nice though. It really is. I love it. But I've always been a little. But anyway, I'm getting ready to get off the video, and I guess I'll see y'all. Talk to you again on the 23rd day of Vlogmas. That would be my day of rest, the 23rd, because, like I said, the next day on New Year's Eve, unless we went shopping. Now, I remember when me and my sister, we used to go shopping. I don't know how I fitted that in there. We used to go shopping on Christmas Eve and get a lot of bargains. I think that was at night or late in the afternoon or something. But I remember also cooking, on that day before Christmas. And that morning of, sometimes I would have something left over to do in the morning. Something just like Thanksgiving. You finish, to put the finishing touches on everything the next day. And me and my Santa, not my Santas, me and my snowman, I showed this to y'all last year. I got 3 snowmen on each side of my sweater. Yeah, this thing has got to be about 20 years old as well. But it's well made, as you can tell. I got it from AJ Wright, a store that used to be right next to Stop and Shop. I go in Stop and Shop and run right over there to AJ right before the bus came. That's how I got this. Matter of fact, this sweater here too came from that same store. That's why it's kind of tight on me because it's so old. It's when I was smaller. This sweater, I mean, this turtleneck, I was smaller. Yeah. And on that note, I go with love, and I'll see you on December the 23rd, our 23rd day of Vlogmas. Enjoy the rest of your evening, y'all. See you then.